Right now on ABC 10 News at 4 o'clock, breaking news with a police pursuit in the South Bay. The dramatic moments when police surrounded the driver's car were live with the very latest. Plus, the big investment the state is making to prevent and fight wildfires this year. The new outlook from Governor Newsom explaining the steps being taken. And a local pair of siblings bringing their love of chess to their community. The Positively San Diego effort to keep the game alive as one prepares for Harvard.
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
We begin with breaking news. This out of Bryan, Texas, where several people have been injured. One person is dead in a mass shooting at a cabinet business. Police say a suspect is in custody and believe that he is an employee of the cabinet maker. Just a little while ago, police said 4 people were critically wounded by the shooting and in the hospital. One person was found dead at the scene, and one was taken to the hospital for a separate health issue. No motive is known. We will stay on top of this breaking story. We'll bring you any updates as we get them. And today's shooting comes on the same day President Biden signed several executive orders on gun control.
Nothing I'm about to recommend in any way impinges on the Second Amendment.
President Biden today is calling gun violence a public health crisis and epidemic. He announced new executive action, including closing loopholes that allow people to make their own weapons, so-called ghost guns.
The icing on the cake for me was the appearance of that machine, the Ghost Gunner 3, which is about the size of a desktop laser printer. And it can produce one of these every 35 minutes and is advertised as basically you can set up a factory in your home and nobody will know about it.
ER doctor and director of the UC Davis Violence Prevention Research Program recently wrote a commentary on ghost guns. He cites the use of ghost guns in recent political violence and other high-profile crimes like mass shootings. He says it makes sense to lower the threshold for what is considered a firearm and require specific parts of a weapon to have a serial number.
Hobbyists will say, but I want to make my own gun. Well, that's fine. Put a serial number on it. You're a hobbyist. What do you care? There is a huge market for custom building firearms.
The longer that we allow this market to continue on unfettered and unregulated, the more of these guns that we will continue to see show up.
It's hard to know how many ghost guns are out there, but the ATF recovered more than 10,000 in 2019. The same year, they traced nearly 270,000 firearms. Anti-gun violence group Brady agrees that law-abiding citizens won't be impacted by the new rules.
I don't see any of this at odds, and I think, frankly, what has changed today versus where we've been in the past is that gun owners, non-gun owners, Democrats, Republicans, they all agree that we need to do something more, and that is why we are where we are today.
Gun violence jumped to its highest levels in 2 decades last year, with nearly 20,000 Americans killed, according to the Gun Violence Archive. That doesn't include an additional 24,000 suicides by guns. The Biden administration also wants to collect data on gun trafficking, create model red flag legislation, which makes it harder for people in distress to access weapons, and make grants available for communities to combat gun violence on their own.
Coming up at 4:30, we'll hear what local leaders and advocates think about President Biden's executive orders. A driver is in the hospital after leading police on a dramatic chase for nearly 2 hours in the South Bay. The pursuit stretching through highways and residential neighborhoods. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz is live where that chase ended. Jen.
Hey, Kimberly, the scene is clear now, but it was a totally different story just a couple of hours ago. We are on 3rd and Moss. Behind me is really folded in the end. So Chula Vista police say they got a call around noon about a person waving a gun at someone else. They then found the suspect driving a black minivan and tried to pull him over. Sky 10 was rolling overhead as the driver weaved in and out of traffic, making illegal turns from the wrong lanes at times. The slow speed chase throughout the South Bay went on for an hour and 45 minutes. The driver eventually stopped the van outside an apartment complex and a behavioral health center near 3rd and Moss. About a dozen police officers surrounded the car with their guns drawn. Officers were able to put the man in handcuffs and detain him. He was eventually stretcher and into an. So once again, the scene has cleared up here. a dozen cops too long ago. Right now, we do not know the identity of that suspect, and we do not know his condition at this time. We are learning from police at this time. Reporting live in Chula Vista, Jennifer Cruz, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Jen, for that live update. The state is taking a more than $500 million jump start to combat what officials say could be a grim fire season in 2021. ABC 10 News reporter John Horn explains what this new strategy means as we endure another year of dry weather.
The hots are getting hotter, the dries are getting drier.
Governor Newsom's words especially relevant in San Diego, which has only seen 4.8 inches of rain since October. We are on pace for the 18th driest year here in data dating back to 1851.
There's a new reality. If you don't believe in climate change, you don't believe in science, you believe your own damn eyes.
In San Diego and the rest of California, the reality comes via wildfires, including last September's Valley Fire, which torched 17,000 acres in East County. Looking ahead to this year's fire season, Newsom and the state legislature announced an agreement Thursday to spend $536 million in wildfire preparation projects now, as opposed to next fiscal year, which starts in July.
Yes, we're going to do more C-130s. Yes, we have new Black Hawk helicopters coming in. Yes, we're going to have new Helitac crews.
The package also includes multi-year funding on projects meant to keep California resilient to wildfires and droughts, plus CAL FIRE grants to small landowners, funds for home hardening, urban greening and forestry, and shovel-ready projects, including $12 million for the San Diego River Conservancy for wildfire-related investments. Newsom says, however, that the state can only do so much, noting record-breaking heat last August sparked 560 wildfires at the same time. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
The state also recently allocated an additional $80 million to CAL FIRE. In San Diego, that will bring in an additional 100 to 120 firefighters for this fire season. And there's a new push to stop hate crimes against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community right here in San Diego. Today, city and county officials met in the Convoy district to share their plan to stop hate. They're asking anyone who sees anything to say something. Police said they can only act on hate crimes that have been reported. District Attorney Summer Stephan said the last 3 that were reported were all prosecuted as felonies.
And the only way that you put a bully down is by standing up to that bully and making clear that we are united against hate.
Mayor Todd Gloria also encouraged residents to come forward to help keep the community safe. And now to our continued coverage of the murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Today, a medical expert for the state who specializes in breathing took the stand. Court TV legal correspondent Shanley Painter is joining us from Minneapolis with that testimony.
George Floyd died of a low level of oxygen while being pinned on the ground with his hand cuffed behind him. That's what the jury learned from the state's expert Dr. Martin Tobin, a lung and critical care specialist from Chicago who is nationally known for his expertise on breathing. Jurors listened intently to Dr. Tobin's testimony explaining how the lungs of a person suffering from a health ailment may be impacted while in a prone position and the result of fentanyl in George Floyd's system.
The problem is if they have pneumonia, they have bad matching between the blood vessels going through the lungs and the air sacs. In people who have pneumonia, COVID, whatever, that matching is going to be very bad, and that's what leads to the worse oxygenation in those patients. The second reason why you know fentanyl is not causing the depression of his respiration. What you're seeing is that the increase in his carbon dioxide that is found in the emergency room is solely explained by what you expect to happen in somebody who doesn't have any ventilation given to him for 9 minutes and 50 seconds.
Tomorrow, prosecutors are expected to call the Hennepin County Medical Examiner, Dr. Andrew Baker, to talk about cause and manner of death. That's the latest from here in downtown Minneapolis. I'm Shanley Painter with Court TV.
San Diego's return to normalcy continues this Sunday with the launch of Restaurant Week. The annual week of discounted prefixed menus in eateries across the region normally happens in January, but was postponed because of the pandemic. Upwards of 90 restaurants from the South Bay to Fallbrook will participate. They'll be offering 2-course lunch menus ranging from $10 to $25 and 3-course dinner menus from $20 to $60. The event's chair tells ABC 10 News the majority of restaurant staffs have been vaccinated over the past month. He says organizers circled the week on the calendars before they even knew that on-site service would be allowed.
We put these dates on the books in hopes that we'd be open, and kind of all the stars aligned, and so we're open. It's the first time we've been doing it in the spring.
Restaurant Week runs from this Sunday through the 18th, and no tickets are necessary.